Good morning. Welcome to the spring May 2017 downtown update, and welcome to the Appel Center for the Performing Arts and our historic Capitol Theater. Thank you. Just this last weekend, we officially made our name change to the Appel Center. We had a whole weekend of concerts and films and a Saturday open house and a sold-out concert in here Sunday night. Over 3,000 members of the community coming in to check out what's happening here, to celebrate everything that the Appel family has meant to our organization and to downtown York. And it's a perfect time because we are also, just yesterday, went on public sale with the first 14 shows in our 2017-2018 season. And if you didn't get one already, we have some brochures available for you with those shows on it. And a few that I want to highlight are Gladfelter Insurance Broadway series, which we're bringing Stomp, a show called A Night with Janis Joplin, fantastic night of music there. And then also we are bringing the Tony Award-winning show Jersey Boys to the Strand Theater. Jersey Boys is the story of Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons. It includes all of their greatest hits. And what I love about this show is how it tells the story of these four guys from New Jersey who grew up around the mob and how they grew to be one of the biggest pop music acts of all time. We also have a lot of great music, as always. We're really pleased to be bringing back Black Violin. If you're not familiar with Black Violin, these are two classically trained string players who've taken that classical training, have blended it with hip-hop and calypso and gypsy, I mean, just sort of every type of music out there to create their own signature sound. And for their return to the Strand Theater, they are going to be supported by our own York Youth Symphony Orchestra. For our younger audiences, we've got some great shows as well. We're bringing a production of Mr. Popper's Penguins, the beloved family book. It was made into a popular film with Jim Carrey a few years back. And we'll have a live production of that. And then the show here that you see on the screen is called B, the Underwater Bubble Show. This is a show from Eastern Europe. Huge props, huge lights, all kinds of bubbles that really bring the ocean to life on stage. There's cirque performers. It's going to be a fabulous show and a great show for young audiences. Finally, one of the shows that I wanted to highlight, and one that I'm one of the shows that I'm the most excited about next season is a company called Momix, and what is really their signature piece called Opus Cactus. And Opus Cactus is a work where they bring the life of the desert, they bring that to life via dance and movement. The image that you see is from one of the dances called Gila Monster, which is three dancers connected together and moving together to create this desert animal. It's a fantastic dance. It's a ton of spectacle in this show. If you've never been to a modern dance show, you're sort of afraid, I'm not gonna get it. Come and check out Momix. It's a super, super company. I'm so pleased that we can bring them here. Finally, I'm really pleased to share with you, especially as we are in our historic Capitol Theater, that in about a year from now, we are going to start to make renovations to this space. We're going to be replacing all of the seats. We're going to be putting in new restrooms. We're going to be redoing the balcony to improve the sight lines and improve that seating up there. And we are also going to be putting in a whole new lobby and concessions area. This is an image from George Street and looking back into the space. Really pleased to do that, to take this wonderful theater that is so beloved by performers and in the community, and to really bring the whole visitor experience up to the 21st century. Thank you so much for being here, and I'm going to turn it over to the CEO of Downtown Inc., Mr. Silas Chamberlain.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for coming out. Thank you, Todd, and the whole team at the Appel Center for hosting us, especially after such an important weekend for your organization. We're really proud of you and happy and congratulate you on your new name. So thank you for coming out to a day that's really full of information for the next hour or so. It's a very packed slate, so no single speaker is going to go on for very long. The whole idea is to give you a sense of how many great things are going on in downtown. But before we launch into our updates, I want to thank some public officials that are with us today. Our mayor, Kim Bracey. Commissioner Susie Burns. Commissioner Doug Hoke. And Councilman Henry Nixon. And I hope I'm not missing, oh, is that Carol? And Representative Carol Hill Evans. Thank you, Carol. So I also want to thank the Downtown Inc. board and staff. If you could please all rise. Thanks for the work that you do on behalf of downtown every single day. So like I said, we have a full slate today. We have a lot of speakers. Thank you for making time in your busy schedules for being here. And I am holding myself to the same standard by limiting the amount of time I have. And so I am going to boil down a presentation that I would love to do in 20 minutes to about 8 minutes. And I'm going to do that by showing you a series of numbers that are really important to telling a story about how downtown York and Downtown Inc. have progressed in recent years. The first one is a rather big number, 23,644. That is the number of people, whoops, I don't want to give away the next one. That's the number of people who are following us today on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. That's a number that has increased incredibly rapidly in the last few years, and it allows us to talk about our downtown businesses, our attractions, our events, and all the great things that are going on here to audiences that transcend the downtown, transcend the city, and really extend across Pennsylvania and the region. 75. That's the number of businesses that have participated on average in our First Fridays. And as you can see, that's a big increase from just 10 years ago when we had about a dozen businesses who are coming out. And because our business community has been so devoted to First Fridays and been willing to take the time to participate, we've seen our First Friday numbers increase very rapidly, just in a short period of time. And if you look at that month-to-month comparison from 2015 to 2016, you see attendance double, triple, and just based on the great First Friday we had last week, I think we'll see those numbers continue to grow in 2017. $16,000, what can you do with $16,000? You could plant flowers all throughout the downtown. So hopefully over the last few weeks, you've noticed all this color downtown in all of our planters. This is something we do in partnership with LifePath and with the Garden Club of York. It's an investment that we make out of our budget every year to make sure downtown's looking great. 14 tons. That's the amount of litter that our cleanup crew removes every year from the streets just in our 26 square blocks. That is a big number. We always could be doing more, and so we continue to build the capacity of our cleanup crew. This year, we're arming them with a backpack gum removal machine. So all those little gum spots that you see, apparently if you apply a little beet juice and a little friction, they come off pretty easily. And just another note about that, we traditionally have ended our cleanup crew in the late fall when the weather gets cold, but we recognize there's litter issues throughout the year. This last winter, for the first time, we had someone work part-time through the year. This coming winter, we hope to add a second person working part-time, continue to build the capacity of that crew so that that 14 tons continues to happen every year. $3 million, now we're talking a lot of money. And that's the amount that's been leveraged between Downtown Inc., the City of York, and all of our local partners to get the rail trail built through downtown. You're familiar with the project that was already completed between York College and Market Street, but later this year you'll see the extension of that trail from Philadelphia Street to George Street get underway. And that's the last really big gap remaining in the trail through our downtown. There's lots of other smaller projects that are going to make it even better. You'll hear a little bit about one of them on the George Street Bridge later today. 80%, this is one of my favorite statistics because it represents the percent reduction in reported robberies in our downtown since 2011. And reported crime overall is down 25%, and assaults with firearms are down 50%. These are the kinds of stats that we don't often like to think about, but are incredibly important because of all the progress we've made since 2011, which is when the police department began its downtown unit. And it's when Downtown Inc. began getting very serious about public safety by convening our Public Safety Committee between the York County Sheriff's Department, the Police Department, and our various partners. We started funding additional officer hours downtown at key times, thanks to Better York and other partners. And we started training officers in how we could work with the business community to make their spaces more safe. We also continue to implement our security camera program and make it even more strategic than it has been in the past. We took a look at every security camera, private or public, downtown. We looked at where we have some gaps remaining in terms of security camera coverage. And over the course of the next month and a half, we'll be installing additional security cameras that fill in some of those gaps so that we have a downtown that is safe and monitored in partnership with the police department. 38, back to a very small number, unless you consider that that 38 represents how many ribbon cuttings we had last year on new or expanded businesses in our downtown. If you look at that graph and look back at just 2011, not very long ago, we had 6 business cuttings. The next year, 10. So you can see this continued growth. And if you're wondering where we are for this year, by the end of May, we will have had 22 new businesses open in our downtown. So we are on track to hit or exceed that record number that we set last year. And I wish I had time to talk about all of them, but I'll just show you a few. Isaac's just opened at the corner of Beaver and Market. The Handsome Cab on George Street. Taste Test, and could we get a round of applause for Taste Test, who catered our breakfast this morning? 5 new market vendors and several more that you'll be hearing about in the coming weeks. So Cindy and her team and all the vendors there continue to make Central Market an incredibly vibrant place. Revival Social Club, Design Quake on Philadelphia Street, You and Me Yarn Shop on Beaver Street, Makeup Studio in Royal Square, Gospel Connections on King Street, Meta Hair Design, which became the first of 6 retail spaces to cut their ribbon in the North Beaver Street properties in the Revy Flats building, and many more. So what's next? We recognize that we have all these great businesses. We've opened up more than 100 new businesses in the last 3 years. So what do we need to do? We need to make sure that they stay in business. We're continuing to shift resources internally towards business retention, recognizing that our existing business community needs assistance so that when they run into problems, they have the resources they need. I'm proud that we were able to hire Debbie Bailey as our new manager of business services. Debbie, are you here somewhere? Oh, she's up filming us. Thank you, Debbie. We also, of course, want to continue to emphasize our micro districts and spread the great work that's going on in the central business district, in the market district, to Royal Square, where there's already a ton of momentum, and to WECO, where there's just so much opportunity for continued business development and partnerships with community organizations. I think there's going to be a lot of exciting things that are happening in WECO over the course of the next few years. We also want to not forget the fact that our visitors travel through key gateways into our downtown. And so they can have a great experience within our 26 square blocks, but we want to have them have a great experience throughout their time here. There's key locations like Market Street and Philadelphia Street, North George Street, where we know thousands of people enter and exit every day. We want to take some of the lessons learned in our downtown and spread them along those key gateways and image corridors in partnership with the city and the Economic Alliance. Finally, I can't do a presentation without talking about the Codorus. This is our most important natural asset. It's the reason our city located here. It's been an important part of our city for many years, but we know we could be doing more with it. We know the Codorus is beautiful along many of its stretches. We know what other cities have done with their highly channelized urban waterways. We know that urban waterways can be platforms for economic development and community engagement, And we know that it's been done before in Pennsylvania. This is a picture from Bellefonte, so we should be doing it here in the city of York. So we will continue those discussions in the coming years about how we can continue to put resources into a fully restored Codorus Creek. And we want to spread the word about what's happening here. We're just 26 square blocks, but we think we are the key to the economic success of York County and to our region, and we want to make sure that people throughout our county and throughout our state know about what we're doing. This is my last stat for this morning, 79%. This is an important stat to my board and my staff. This is the percentage of Downtown Inc.'s budget that does not come from public sources of funding, that come solely from private sources. So it doesn't come from the city, the county, our bid assessment. It comes from individuals like you who have chosen to become members of our Friends group. So if you aren't already a friend of Downtown Inc. and you support the work that's going on, you want to see a thriving downtown, and you believe in our mission, I hope you'll consider becoming a friend of Downtown Inc. With that, I will turn it over to our first speaker, Dylan Bauer, who is Vice President of Real Estate Development at RSDC.
Morning. Excuse me. In addition to serving with Royal Square Development and Construction, I have the great opportunity to work on the Downtown Inc. board as well as the Strand Capital board. And one of the things that I think Todd missed, which is my favorite, and it's fun to be back on the stage, is Cap Comedy. Once in a while, they let me do and they let me MC. So being here, and I thought, you know what? I'm on the stage. I got a mic. Has anyone here tried swallowing a clock? Eating a clock? Don't do it. It's very time consuming. All right. See, I do that and the comics look great. Actually, the comedy is much better than that. All right, so starting off, we put a nice picture of Weinbraum here as it was, which I think is a pretty good testament to walking by now, it's already so quick to forget what it used to look like just a year ago. It's very exciting. Isaac's, open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I think is that critical thing that the city needed. We have a regional brand now that's in between the mom and pop startup to the chain, and they're bringing in a whole different level of quality, and they're open from 7 a.m. till 8 p.m., so we can now have food for all 3 meals of the day. We have 6 additional retailers on the backside on the south end, and then we have 8 apartments. 4 of those are 1-bedrooms, and 4 of those are loft apartments. They range from $750 to $1,450 in rent. They do include parking and very nice amenities. So it's exciting to watch that brand. We watched that with Kodo 10 years ago, and now we're seeing it again, I think, with a lot of quality product coming on, as well as market rate, as you'll see. Some of this is tough to look. I did help with these slides, but I haven't seen them. Isis on the Fly, Memory Lane Suites, Layla Bees, Crystal Ball, Meta, and Make Me Over are all awesome that are coming into the area. Some of them that are opening now have already opened, but like Silas said, there'll be a few more ribbon cuttings to come. FW Woolworth Department Store. This is exciting because I feel that we have this great opportunity to deliver a Class A retail space to downtown that has not been delivered in many, many years. We have 21 apartments, 16 of those are 1-bedrooms. I had to make sure I was right. 5 of them are 2-bedrooms and 26 parking spaces. The key here, I believe, is that we have a retail space that could be anything from a restaurant to any kind of retail that is dependent on parking. And that's a big thing for the city, so we're very excited to be able to bring that. That will come online closer to the end of the year. The apartments we should be delivering by December 31st. So we're very excited. If you walk by now, you will see steel, which is very exciting to me. I had the great opportunity to go to the Isaac's soft opening, and I was backing out in a little secret parking spot behind the building that no one should know about. And I backed out, and I look in my rearview mirror, and I'm seeing the first set of steel come down on the building. I'm like, this is so cool. I just went to Isaac's. It used to be nothing. It was just an empty old building, and now I'm watching this happen. This is just the greatest, coolest thing that's happening. Zeki's Nightclub, 7 apartments and a first-floor retail. Our main floor tenant is Fig and Barrel. Nathan and Lisa Novak, I think I saw you guys walk in. I'm excited to be able to premiere some of this. We have some new renderings that are subject to change, as anything is. They should deliver in the fall of 2017, and the apartments will be this June. And to take a quick look Fig and Barrel will be a wood-fired brick oven pizza, whiskey-focused pre-Prohibition era cocktail gastropub. I think I got that right. It will open, if you know where Zakey's is, it'll be right next to Cherry Lane, which I think is a great connector. We've watched Iron Horse come in and do fantastic. Holy Hound's a nice anchor, and we're watching that now turn around the Market District back on the George Street, connecting what was the department store district for many, many, many years, and it was vacated. These are dinosaur spaces. They're giant spaces. What do you do with it? It takes us, taking Woolworth, 2/3 of that building has been removed. Zakey's, it takes an operator that can fill 3,000 square feet. A lot of these buildings are very challenging from the real estate development side, and we and others have been very fortunate finding those people, taking the risks, and everybody else has been patronizing them, and they've been doing very well. So it's very exciting to watch that curve go around the side. Looking forward, the Dahl Building, we recently received our second New Market Tax Credit allocation, which is a U.S. Treasury tax credit. In addition, we use historic tax credits and many other different kinds of funding sources to make these projects happen, because a building such as the Dahl Building is very unstable, if you will. It's very slanted. Two of the spaces inside, that's what we use, it's industry term, slanted. Two of the main tenants that we're having, the York Emporium, if you're familiar with them, great business to check out if you've not been there. It's an awesome warehouse of books and things. The York Emporium is decided to downsize to about 50%, and then York CrossFit will be moving from the steam plant to 337 West Market or the Dahl Building. They will both occupy, and then we have the front space, which is almost about 4,000 square foot of retail space. We put signs up and got marketing out there with Rock, and within days we had inquiries. Very cool, very good testament for what's happening in downtown, and a great bridge between what we have in Weko to the Market District. So it's really this connectivity. And I challenge anybody that says from Lancaster to York, you come to York, it is a walkable city. You can get anywhere. I'll get off on a tangent and keep going. But you can get around town in York, walk from Weko to Royal Square, and it's nothing. It's a really awesome thing. So the Dahl Building, 13 apartments, two first-floor retailers, and then we have about, I think, 50 parking spaces, which is also a key. The Haynes Building, Mr. Haynes, Haynes Shoe House, Haynes Acres. Mr. Haynes was quite the developer in his day. He had the Haynes Building right across the street here, across from the Strand, as well as 101 East Market Street, which is catty corner from the Yorktown. We are subject to start in August. I forgot to mention the Dahl Building and H&R Block, well, Haynes Building, will commence in about August. They'll take anywhere from 6 months to, this will take about 8 months, and the Dahl Building will take about 12. This will have H&R Block on the corner, as it is today. We have negotiated with them to improve their signage, improve their space, and then Square Realty and Property Management, which is our real estate office that handles all the rentals, will be moving to the first floor on the north side. There are 10 apartments, great views, really cool reuse of the building, and it's right in that area with all that's happening between the Center for Community Engagement, the Yorktown's $25 million improvements. It's becoming another hub, which is really cool. We're talking about a third and fourth hub or intersection in our downtown. Cobblestones, Knights of Columbus. Anyone have any ideas? All right, in all seriousness though, there is quite a few plans here. We are very excited to be a part of this project. It's been an event space, banquet center for many, many years, and we are working with a couple of different banquet and events ideas as one of the routes. I've heard everything from bowling, which would be pretty exciting, restaurant, nightclub, the list goes on, but we recognize what we have to do as far as raising money and what we have to do to make this thing work, because right now it's nice control, we know what it's going to be, we all believe in the future of it, but it's going to take some time. So we're very excited to be a part of that project as well. And last but not least, the Vonnie Grimes Gym. Very exciting if you've not been over there lately at College and Princess. It is a community center that the city has had now since 1966. It was built as a York Collegiate Institute's gym. It was the College Avenue gym. The York Collegiate Institute, this was the second location, the Collegiate Institute, York College, used to be located over here on Beaver Street. It relocated right next to the site, which is now College Park. And then they had the York College Avenue, or York College Gym that was built. And this is an awesome partnership to work with the City of York Public Works Department and using Neighborhood Partnership Program, which is a state grant to revitalize and restore the exterior of the building, and hopefully, if we can continue this momentum with the state and the city partnership, do this again for maybe 2 years, and really take this community center and bring it to something that would serve more than just our downtown. It is that gateway between the southeast side of the city and our downtown. To me, this is a very, very exciting project because we can actually watch that progress come into Royal Square. I wish I had another joke. That's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Dylan. It's always impressive to hear how much Royal Square has going on throughout the downtown and beyond. Next speaker is Joan Mummert, President and CEO of the York History Center, to talk about a really exciting project that's going to be transformational for our downtown.
Your history starts here.
My history starts here. My history.
My history.
My history starts here.
Here.
Here. Starts here.
My history starts here.
Starts here.
Starts here.
Starts here.
My history starts here. Your history starts here.
What do you think? Is our history starting here? Boy, it's hard to follow the three folks who have preceded me, and there's a lot more to follow after me. But let me just say, if you live, work, or play in York County, we're going to get a little music. That's our dance video coming up. Hang on. So whether you live, work, or play in York County, your history really does start here. Whether it is the founding, fledgling government that started our country, or perhaps your place of work, perhaps the place that you live, perhaps your own genealogy, and obviously what we've all created together, our history starts here. We're going to the slideshow in a second, folks. There we go. You can see that this is the steam plant in its revitalized form. There we go. So the York County History Center has embraced a transformational plan of right-sizing that brings us to a campus in downtown York City. It increases the visibility of our history and creates economic development for all of those entities that were mentioned beforehand. I think, Silas, you said 34 different businesses this year? Economic development for all of those businesses. Today, museums play a very different role. Instead of being edifices on the hill, fonts of knowledge, if you will, we are very much engaged in community enterprise. We provide catalytic experiences, adding value and vibrancy to communities. In our new form, we promise you, our community, to become a more extroverted place, a place that serves as a place of discovery, a place to learn, a place to engage, a place to explore our past, to connect, to share our stories, in a place that is about you and me. I'm going to go back a little bit. There we go. So our plan to centrally locate realizes the 2006 DCED Economic Development Report called River of Opportunities that recommended the transformation of the Codorus Corridor. By bringing visitors from around the county and from 50 miles and beyond, we will transform a portion of that corridor. And it's not just a dream. Our economic study suggested that we could see over 50% increase in visitation by being centrally located. We get about 30,000 people a year. So that's a great increase. And just imagine Not only will we be located in that area, but as Silas mentioned, the rail trail completion through that area and the possible extension of STEAM into history, the synergy between those three enterprises could create even more visitation and economic development. So what are we doing? We're creating a campus. And the campus, part of it you're pretty familiar with. On one end is the Colonial Complex, and that won't change terrifically in the near future. On the other end, we'll have this STEAM plant, which you saw in the beginning of the presentation. This is a little addition. It will house the library, museum, library and archives, and museum. And it will be a compilation of all of our museums together in one. Not only will this be a really terrific experiential place, we want to make sure that you enjoy it aesthetically as well. We plan to have a third floor with a nice deck that will look down the Codorus Creek. So we expect you all to sign up for rentals very soon. To complete the campus, we'll be working with Downtown Inc., the city, the general authority, and other stakeholders to take what's now known as Lafayette Plaza, the parking area, and turn it into green space. We expect this space to be a place for community to gather, to celebrate, to enjoy, to have programs and festivals. And we have started a new partner program because, again, museums are now places of community and in community, with community. The partner program will guarantee that people will not only visit the museum, library, and archive, but spill out into the restaurants and shops and other destinations. And you can bet we'll be working with the new Appel Center for the Performing Arts and the Revs to make sure that people are going to those activities as well, and that they'll eventually stay overnight. What a wonderful thing for York City. So how are we doing this? Oops, wrong thing. There we go. So how do we stack up? How are we paying for it all? This project is about $20 million, no small feat. And $2 million of that is grants that we're already working toward. $3 million in tax credits, new market and historic tax credits. We're already engaged in our silent phase for the capital campaign. And all of that, $10 million, will be matched by a redevelopment grant from the state, which the legislative body from York County has endorsed, and we understand the governor we have his support as well. All of those things are working in concert to net us $20 million, and we are pleased to share that those efforts are working quite well. So what's our timing? I'd love to open the doors tomorrow, but I have to tell you it takes a little bit of work. Our goal is 2020 to open the doors for the community. But during that time frame, we have a lot of work going on, and we're new to this development game, so we're taking a lot of notes from the folks on the stage with us. If you remember, our project is to right-size, to create this destination for folks, to shed ourselves of $12 million of deferred maintenance. We started with 10 buildings strewn across the city and didn't have a lot of impact into the city, into the businesses. So what did we do? We went and bought another building, so we had 11. In 2015, we bought the STEAM plant on a very intentional path that we've charted. But in 2016, we actually sold our first building and started to put money back into the city coffers in tax revenue. Just last week, we sold the J.E. Baker building, putting $25,000 back into the coffers annually and creating market rate apartments for this community. From now until 2019, we will start exploring the disposition of the Historical Society building. We actually will probably put that up for sale in 2018. During that period as well, we are developing the architectural plans as well as the museum, library, and archive design that will be experiential for you. Speaking of you, we want to make sure that your voice is heard in that process. We are going around the county to visit different communities to get your thoughts, ideas, and recommendations about what your experience should be like. What history should we tell? What's important to you? What's important to the community? We started last week in Dillsburg. This Thursday, we'll be in Hanover. On May 18th, we'll be in Glen Rock. On June 20th, we'll be right here in York City. And on June 29th in Wrightsville. And we encourage you to come out and tell us what you're thinking, what you'd like to experience. It's important to us because it is about you. Our goal, as I mentioned, is to open in 2020. And the big question we've heard lately is what happens to the Agricultural and Industrial Museum? Well, in the short term, it stays. It stays through 2020 in its current form. It does change a bit in that it becomes a part of it becomes storage, but it will remain open on the weekends and for special event rentals. So we know that this is incredibly bold. In Jim Collins' parlance, it's a BHAG, big, hairy, audacious goal. And we're pretty darn excited about it, and people have been pretty positive about it. But it changes the way we connect with the community, to bring people together. It serves to provide solid economic impact, new dollars into this community, new dollars into the businesses that we just talked about. It promises to transform your experience with history, to be more extroverted, more participatory, and more experiential. And it aims to bring history into the 21st century. And we want you to be a part of it. This really is about you, and it's for you. After all, your history starts here. We will be kicking off our capital campaign public phase on June 23rd and 24th. We will be sharing more information about that because we'd love you to be a part of it, because your history starts here. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Joan. Our next speaker is Matt Carey, CEO of LifePath Christian Ministries. He has been an incredible partner to the WECO Microdistrict. We're looking forward to having him this morning.
Good morning, everyone. How's everyone today? Good. So it's been about 16 months since LifePath that I've been involved in the leadership. But I'd like to start out with a story about WECO and my first introduction to participating in a WECO meeting. So I took my team and I was told, hey, I have to go to these WECO meetings. So I said, great. So we showed up, and at the time, your predecessor was handing out the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats about what, everybody in the WECO district. Well, where did York Rescue Mission LifePath Christian Ministries end up? Well, we surely weren't a strength, and we surely were not an opportunity. So you can really see what, the perception was of what we were walking into. Knowing that, one of the things that we thought was important was that we wanted to begin to give back to this community in a way that was purposeful. So the way we thought about doing this was going out, and I know this sounded crazy to many, but we started going out and knocking on doors in the neighborhood. We started asking them, would you be okay with us washing your windows? I remember calling Dylan one day and saying, hey, Dylan, is it okay if we wash your windows and clean up the trash in the stairwell? He said, yeah, go ahead, whatever, if you're crazy enough to do it. But it really was about getting involved, getting this ministry involved. Because the clients that we have in every day, we wanted to figure out a way to show them dignity, value, and purpose. And how better to do that by getting involved in things in this community. So the mayor introduced what was known as the Take 10 on Tuesday initiative. We really grabbed a hold of that to the point that we just no longer take 10 on Tuesday, we take hours daily. In the WECO neighborhood, we have our clients out there picking up trash, doing things in the community that makes an impact on a daily basis. And I can't tell you how impactful that is to an individual who's just come to me out of prison or out of a bad situation, and when they're picking up trash and somebody rolls by in their car and rolls down the window and says to them, hey, thank you for what you're doing. It really does make a difference. So we've been involved, we're part of the garden club. I mean, I don't know how that ever happened, but we are now part of the garden club. You know, when people said we're part of it, I'm like, okay, great. We know we're planting flowers, we're mulching trees throughout the community. We do that in partnership with Downtown Inc. We're shoveling snow. We're out there just doing everything we can to make an impactful difference in the community that we serve. The other thing that I think that I'd like to highlight are a few things. We have a healthcare center now in partnership with Catalasso. We have an on-site healthcare clinic in our building, which really does speak volumes to those people who are underinsured or have no insurance at all. It gives them the ability to come in and get healthcare services and referrals out to others, you know, because a lot of these people don't really want to deal with the healthcare issues that, you know, they have. So that's been very, very positive. The other thing that we've done as well is we've partnered for scholarships with Logos. One of the things that was very, very prevalent to me when I first got there was that the kids in this community, the ones that were in our ministries, their parents or their guardians were moving place to place, which meant that the child had to move from location to location. So I thought, what better way to give stability to a child by giving them a permanent place where they could get solid education no matter where the parents moved. So that's been a very valuable piece to what we do. I really want to talk about First Friday. Since December and since bringing David Cook on in our leadership, our First Fridays are by far our best sales day by far. Our traffic has steadily increased since we started really participating in December. This past Friday, we had over 300 people in our downtown store. That's unbelievable. When they said to me that creek, you know, the Cadorus, they said people don't come over it, you know, they don't like to come over it. We said, well, we're going to prove you wrong. And they have. They're showing up. Our sales volumes are increasing between 5 and 8. It's 3 times of our average daily sales. Our themes, you know, the stuff that that we're doing in partnerships, the craft root beer that we got from Brewery Products for Tap Into Spring, which, by the way, was supported through a grant from Downtown Inc. The free taco bar that we just did for Cinco de Mayo, that was in partnership with Iron Horse, and thank you for that. This August, we're going to have the YMCA Temple Guard and their drill team, and with that, it's going to bring a lot of energy and a lot of people into the WECO community. But the one thing that we want to do with those 300 people that are coming is we want to get them to visit other WECO locations. We want to be the catalyst to drive them into other businesses, into other places, so that they can take advantage of all the great things that WECO has to offer. The other thing that we're doing, which is near and dear to my heart, is the creation of second chance jobs. You know, the clientele that I serve every day, you know, they have a lot of what we call F's on their report card. They're felonies. But that doesn't mean they're bad people. It just means that they made some bad mistakes. So one of the things that we've done just recently is we've partnered with the YMCA. We are over cleaning up the Graham Aquatic Center. We're doing other things, and we're allowing the men and women in our ministry to be out there serving in a community that at first really was not receptive of them. So now they're in doing those type of things. We were just gifted a property on Mason Avenue, right? So we have this wonderful building, and one of the things that we're going to start to do is we're going to begin a car detailing shop. We're not going to charge for it. We're going to ask for people to donate when they come. The other thing that we're looking to do is begin a second chance job opportunity by creating our own janitorial company. We're going to start looking to see if we can get the clients that we have by using the connections that we have, getting out in the community by providing janitorial services, you know, to those that would be willing to work alongside of us. And I really want to emphasize this next thing, the ice cream shop. I don't know if you guys heard about it, but man, am I excited about it. So what better non-threatening place to start to talk to kids, huh? What kid doesn't like ice cream? I mean, honestly. So in this partnership that we're doing with Ironic, we are looking forward to having children, especially in the community, come into the shop so that we can start to just speak into them, to tell them that they are valuable, to tell them that they do have purpose, and just to start loving on them, because that's something that I believe we need to do to start effectively making change in this community, especially with the youth. The one thing that I'm really excited about is I don't want these kids to bring any cash with them. I don't want them to bring money. I want them to go out and earn a voucher to be able to get the ice cream. And by earning that voucher, what I want them to do is go out and pick up trash. I want them to do things at home chore-wise. I want them to have good report cards. I want them to have involvement, gives them a piece of ownership when they come in to start doing those type of things. So we're also going to use it for job training for our clients. We're going to be having our men and women serve in there. We're also asking for community participation. So all of you that are out there that want to serve ice cream, come alongside of us, because we're really looking for community partners to do this. But for me, it's just a model of getting started. I'd like to take this and do it in 5 different neighborhood associations over the next few years. So in closing, I'm sorry I don't have any really great presentation or video, but in closing, where we stand right now as a ministry is that we own and operate 14 facilities in York County. I have a $3.2 million a year operating budget. I get no state or federal money. We have to raise that money through goodwill initiatives through all of you. Those 14 properties that we own and operate, we're bursting at the seams right now. We have been an anchor tenant in this community for 54 years. But I'm taking a look and I'm having discussions with many people in this room about where LifePath is going to go next. We need to expand, we need to grow, but more importantly, we need to make sure that whatever we do, we are making an impact in the lives of those in this community, that we are a value add to anything that we do. And with the support that we continually receive, I look forward to really great things in the next few years. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Matt. Our next speaker is Chaz Green, who's Deputy Director of Public Works for the City of York and a fellow Temple University Owl. So welcome, Chaz.
Hello. So, good morning. All right. Before I get started with my presentation, I kind of just want to introduce myself a little bit. I know most of you probably see me kind of following behind Jim over the last 7 months, walking from meeting to meeting, but really never had the opportunity to get to know who I am. But my name is Chaz Green, as mentioned. Born and raised in York, Pennsylvania. Attended York City schools from McKinley to Hennepin to William Penn Senior High School. Worked for the York City School District for a couple years. Moved away, worked down in the Washington, D.C. area for Washington, D.C. Public Schools. And now back working for the City of York under leadership of Mayor Bracy as a Deputy Director of Public Works. And one thing I can say is when I moved away, it's kind of one of those things you go, I don't know if I'll ever come back. I think I'll stay away. I mean, kind of enjoying it, but something just kept calling me back and calling me back. And once I was given this opportunity, it was just one of those things I just had to make the move. And I can say one thing is, it's a great time to be back in York. A lot of things are going on from sitting up here with the panel, all the ideals and all the plans that are happening here in York. I'm just happy to be a part of it, and thank you for welcoming me back to the City of York. Well, one thing I'm here to talk about today is the North George Street improvements, all right? That's something that is near and dear to us, also to Downtown Inc., as well as Yampo, okay, who has helped us with this project, all right? So, City of York, in cooperation with the York Area Metropolitan Planning Organization and the York County Rail Trail Authority and Downtown Inc., working toward the completion of the York County Heritage Rail Trail, the downtown connection as part of the Northern Extension Phase 4, the 0.5-mile connection with the link existing trailhead at Lafayette Plaza, which was mentioned earlier, to the Northern Extension providing a 27-mile continuous York County Heritage Rail Trail to the North George Street over the Codorus Creek Bridge, right? So can you guys imagine that? So 27 miles of rail trail heading from Maryland to John Rudy Park. And this is all going to be possible and it's going to be happening in the very, very near future. okay? Is a critical segment and the safety improvements are needed for the 4-lane roadway to provide a safe, comfortable facility for all users of the York County Heritage Rail Trail. Okay, so have any of you guys been on the North George Street Bridge lately? No? Walking, heading, maybe going to a Revs game? All right, so if you guys know the space, the sidewalk, it's not much space. When you're walking, heading over to a Revs game, cars are heading down there, kind of like it's a highway, right? If you see them when they take off. So that's one thing we want to improve. I think it's very important. What do you guys think? Is that important? Okay, all right. I just want to make sure we're all on the same page. All right, so that is one thing that we really, really would like to focus on, right? So moving forward with this project, right, we want to make sure, because there's other plans that are in place, but we want to tie into those same plans, so we're not just doing something that we're out there doing just for the city of York. We want to make sure we're doing it for everyone that's involved, right? So sidewalks through most of the study area, which we did, was from North George Street to Parkway Boulevard, right? So we want to improve the sidewalks throughout there, okay? Also, the statewide bicycle PA Route J from north to south, all right? York City 2030 primary bicycle network, which is something that is near and dear to us as well that we've been focused on. We want to make sure we respond to that as well. Also, which is very important, is transit. So rapid transit, the routes 2N and SN with bus stops near Hamilton Avenue and Parkway Boulevard, right? On-street parking at various locations. And then also something that is very big and very important as well is tying into the York City Schools Go Safe walking routes. We want to make sure our kids are safe when they're walking home from school or heading to school. All right? So, okay, I'm kind of going to step out here a little bit, if that's okay. So, I really, right, so Google Maps, I was trying to get a little closer, but I couldn't without you seeing both sides, right? So, right here at this light, that's Jefferson Avenue, all right? So, with Jefferson Avenue, that light, we're going to actually be replacing it, and we're going to be moving it right here, okay? And that light, what that's going to do, the new signal, which is going to be right at Hamilton, that right there will kind of give us that slow up, that pace. So when people take off from the corner ahead and they're heading straight down, that's going to kind of help us give us that, okay? And it's also going to help with us for the next part that I'm going to talk about. But I just wanted to kind of give you guys a picture. I'm more of a visual person, so I have to see the picture so I actually know what I'm talking about. Because, you know, coming back, I was in a whole bunch of meetings and you hear all this stuff and people are giving me street names and projects and acronyms, and I'm like, wow. It's a lot of acronyms, but for me, I'm more of a visual guy. I'm like, okay, can you show me the picture or can you take me to the site? And that helps me out a lot. So that was one of the things I wanted to kind of give you guys today as well, with that light being replaced. All right, but this right here is what I think is going to be very cool, right? So, all right here, everybody know where we're at? Okay, all right. So we're going to take away the northeast travel lane right here, okay? We're going to bring the sidewalk right here going across the bridge. It's going to be grade level. So we're bringing down the grade level, right? But then we'll put a concrete, it'll be a buffer, right, as a barrier to keep everyone safe. We're coming across the bridge, all right? But then also it'll be a shared use path. So it'll allow, you know, bicycles to come through and also pedestrians to walk across while connecting on the rail trail to keep everyone safe while walking across. All right. Also, we want to do shortened sidewalks. Okay. Pedestrian countdown signals, high visibility. And then also one of the things is too, right here, we're going to try and turn into like a smaller corner radius. All right. So it connects. So people aren't having to come the whole way out into the street when they're making that turn. All right. But as you know, the rail trail will be coming from over here. We'll come across, and it'll make that connect right there. Okay. Everybody got that? That's cool. Okay. All right. Great. All right. So as mentioned, this connection will go to the York County Rail Trail. It's going to provide safe space for pedestrians and bicyclists. It'll reduce the risk of accidents and also calm traffic speeds. All right. So that's very important to us. This is some projects going to be happening in the very, very near future. We've been lucky to partner with YAMPO, with Downtown Inc., also with the help from TRG, all right? We're working with them, also working with Just Shoe, okay? So just want to make sure that this is something that we really, truly would like to focus on in the near future. And just thought it was important that we can come and update with you guys today. I'm very excited that we were invited from Downtown Inc. to be here today, and thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Chaz. Our next speaker is here to talk about a project you might have heard of. Blandon Ace, Vice President of Community Affairs at the York County Economic Alliance, to speak about the Yorktown.
Good morning, everybody. A little project. Has everyone ever heard of the Yorktown Hotel? I've got the best job in the world. I tell you, I work with some of the most amazing people and boards and volunteers, and the leadership of the York County Industrial Development Authority saw the vision. We saw the hotel declining. We knew that it was for sale, and took that bold step to purchase it, to make sure that it got into the right hands and that the right thing happened to it. This hotel opened October 25th, 1925. It's been open every day since, until November, when we realized our operating losses could be better put to use to making a better product. So that, you know, everyone knows the history, and they've been in it. You've had a wedding, a prom, a honeymoon. It's the great place to be. It's where York gathers. What a lot of people don't see is the backside of it, or the inside, of course. And I've spent a good part of a year and a half exploring this building, and even last week found a room I didn't know existed. So it's a big building. It's 240,000 square feet on about 11 levels above grade and about 3 levels below grade. So this basement, and then a sub-basement and a sub-sub-basement. We go down about 24 feet below ground. But in the back, we've got some challenges. The parking deck that most people don't see, you know, has been closed for 3-4 years now, which has presented some challenges. The building inside, the exterior of it, we've got some challenges. And I know you probably can't see some of this, but next time you walk by, look up on the top corner, up in the upper right corner there. There's an entire corner of the building missing. And you really don't notice it much, but when you're up there, that's about a 3 foot by 3 foot by 1 foot thick piece of concrete that somehow disappeared. So we've got cracked tops around the edge. We've got brick that's coming off the back. There's a missing window up in the front that you really don't notice. You can see it in this picture, right where the concrete's missing. There's a window missing as well. So we've got a lot of things. When we walk into the lobby and we see this beautiful lobby and this wonderful ballroom, and we go for Rotary or for an event, we see this well-maintained, beautiful place. But we don't see this. This is underneath, and part of the reason why the garage has been closed for a while. It's in no danger of collapsing, but why take the chance? So we've got challenges throughout the building. Inside, I had not noticed this until our architect team, by the way, engineering, New Tech Design, and they've partnered with Beatty Harvey Coco out of Baltimore, an amazing design team. They've been incredible so far. They pointed out that you usually don't mount a light fixture to an air conditioning duct. And now that's all I see when I go in there. There are what I'm referring to as ghost utilities. There are old pipes that have been disconnected and just left there. Anytime any phone system or internet was added or upgraded, they just left the old behind. We've got a few pipes that we can't get too close to breathing the air around them because of potentially the way they're wrapped. So there's a lot of challenges on the inside of the building. It's not very pretty. So, you know, our goal is to make this a hotel. We've got to make this better. So it's the existing floor plan, and some of these drawings, we are continuously moving at a breakneck pace. These drawings and ideas and renderings change literally daily, working with our design team. We've also hired, as a construction manager, Kinsley Construction. Kinsley will oversee the coordination and the scheduling of the project, and they will hire probably 20 to 25, maybe 30 different contractors that will do the actual work. And to that point, one thing that we really liked about some of the things we talked about with Kinsley during their interview process, the whole building needs painted. It's 240,000 square feet. That's a big job. But what if we broke that into 10 painting contracts and we hired 10 small local businesses and we made the push out to the minority community and minority-owned businesses and really engage them, we can have as many contracts as we want. It's a lot of paperwork, but then we can engage these small businesses to be able to perform on such a large project. So that's really important to the authority, is to engage the York-based businesses and the small businesses to have them the opportunity to get engaged. So looking at the plan, again, this is preliminary. The area to the left is likely to be demolished. The area to the right will be saved. That's the original 1925 and a small 1929 addition that was put on the west side. Again, credit to our architects. We have figured out a way to use the building. We had talked at one time that there was a potential we may have to demolish the upper floors because of the column spacing. Our architects have figured out that we don't have to demolish the upper floors, which is a great benefit to all of us, not only from a timeline and a budget, but the historic preservation of this building needs to be saved. So we did figure out a way we can get about 20 rooms, or as I'm learning, the hotel language, keys, 20 keys per floor, probably do anywhere from 4 to 6 floors, which will give us 80 to 120 rooms, probably more towards 120. That seems to be the market demand, and we're interviewing operators now that want to come in and be a partner, and we'll get them engaged in the design process as well. So then we start exploring renderings and ideas and concepts. Some of you may or may not be aware, the authority also purchased Zion Lutheran Church. Its last use was the last Sunday in November 1995, and Zion moved out to the suburbs and closed and locked the doors. The county bought it for a while as an idea for the new judicial center. Obviously, it's not small enough based on the big building across the street. And then Christ Lutheran Church bought it. And when we purchased the Yorktown, they approached us and asked if there's any way we could incorporate the church into our project. And we said, oh yeah. Our concept now is to demolish the rear portion of the church, the gymnasium addition, which is self-imploding right now. There is no floor in it because there's no roof. So that will be going, as well as that 1957 addition to the hotel and the parking structure that's structurally deficient. So as we start going through this is actually option B. That's evolved into option C, which has then again evolved into our latest, which is option D now. I just got this in the email a couple of days ago. The concept is demolish the rear section and create an entry plaza, perhaps reorient the entrance to the hotel to the rear a little bit for ease of access, still keep the Market Street entrance, and create this nice circular motion. We've been working with the county to allow us to have access in front of the building. Glenn Smith might lose his parking space, but we're making a trade. So we'll have access that can come in here, loop around, have access to the back of the hotel. The church will remain and become a function space, and we're exploring the idea of putting parking behind the church. Obviously, we have some work to do with dealing with our neighbors and finding a place for them to allow us to construct parking on their space. But this becomes this fabulous park entryway to the hotel with the domes of the courthouse, and we relight the church, and you'll see this beautiful stained glass windows. And again, this is an older rendering, but you start to see how the building takes place. We're activating the roof, and you see it from a couple different angles. You'll see the parking behind the church, the entryway, a new elevator on the side of the building, perhaps something a little bit more modern looking, and then this is the repointed and saved brick on the front of the main structure. So we're really coming along quickly, our schedule, because this is probably the biggest question I'm asked, and this is aggressive, this is extremely aggressive. We are right now, of course, in the conceptual design phase and the budgeting process. We hope to begin some demolition of the rear portion probably July of this year. We're developing the specs and the drawings right now. Construction documents then will continue to the fall, and we're hoping to be out to bid for the construction in November of December of this year. And construction Again, this is just a broad stroke, but perhaps 10 months to a year of construction with a goal to be open in December of 2018. So it's an extremely aggressive schedule. More importantly on the schedule, just as you may or may not have heard, we are getting ready to liquidate and auction off all of the contents of the hotel. So our assistant project manager, Kim Hogeman, has been killing herself. We've done a lot of donations to the community. We've moved all of the furniture from all of the upper floors down into 3 floors. So for those of you who I've given a tour to recently, as you walk in the lobby is full of TV armoires and dressers. The 3rd floor is irons, ironing boards, alarm clocks, microwaves, silk plants. Everything you can think of in a hotel room is for sale. Bibles and non-smoking signs. So we have a ton of things to liquidate and get rid of because we're bringing in all new stuff. This is going to be a top-notch quality place. So on May 27th, which is the Saturday of Memorial Day, we are having a public sale. We're going to have food trucks. We've hired Toomey Auction Service, and I invite all of you to come get a piece of the Yorktown. We've got art, mirrors, lamps. We have some lamps, and if anyone's interested, we have lamps. And we're putting stickers of authenticity on everything, so you can take it home and keep it for 100 years and tell your grandchildren that this came from the Yorktown someday. So again, that's May 27th, and we're also planning in July, probably July 13th, we'll be doing a function in conjunction with the Valencia, and we'll be having a liquidation celebration at the Valencia, and we'll hopefully unveil some detailed drawings and renderings of the inside, and have you the opportunity to buy some very historic room numbers or keys or things like that. So please come out May 27th, and thank you all for your support. This is going to be a huge turnaround for the Yorktown. Thank you.
So we're looking forward to the Yorktown opening, but in the meantime, if you want to do a staycation, you have clients coming in from out of town, you do not need to send them to some cookie-cutter hotel out along Route 30 or somewhere else other than the city of York, because we do have great downtown accommodations, and that's what our next speaker, Joanne Ecaledo, is going to be speaking about from Grace Manor B&B.
So before I get started on the presentation, I'm going to actually go to the end of the presentation so that if you have any thoughts of leaving, you won't. I have 2 interns here, and I'm going to introduce my interns. They are Danaja Carabello, and you stand. And there is Kilta Adabisi. Please stand. They are my interns from Logos Academy, and they will be passing out to you a brochure when you leave. This is their introduction into downtown. They are budding entrepreneurs themselves. They want to open businesses here in York, so there's your future. And so please give them a great welcome when you see them handing out the brochures. And the reason you'll want to stay, the real reason is that I have my signature lemon basil cookie with a lemon glaze attached to your brochure. So now we'll start. So Grace Manor Bed and Breakfast, please be our guest. As Silas said, we are in downtown York. We're in the WeCo district. We're only about 3 or 4 doors from the Codorus Creek. We're near Small Star Art House and a lot of other good things in WeCo. So our history. We're at 258 West Market Street. We built in 1840, so quite a lot of history there. We're a little bit older than the Yorktown, but a lot of history, a lot of that history still intact. It was formerly the H.K. Welsh building. I'll have to ask Joan a little bit about the history. I haven't been down to the History Center yet to do that history and find out what that exactly means. It's originally a single-family home, 7,000 square feet. Today, It is meticulously restored, the entire 7,000 square feet. That does exclude the carriage house, which that's the next phase to renovate that. There are 5 theme suites. They sleep up to 14, and we have 2 extended stay suites. We have had doctors from York Hospital stay with us when they're leaving their residency. We've had them stay up to 9-10 weeks when they're finishing up their residency and their families have moved on to their new location. So we do have an opportunity for extended stay if you have businesses that you need extended stay as well as daily business travel stay. Take a trip with us through some of our themed rooms. Every room is themed. Of course, we have the accommodation and amenities of any hotel would have, including Wi-Fi, free Wi-Fi. We have a full breakfast, full 3 to 4 course breakfast that you may not get in a hotel with a Southern influence. Our economic impact. We partner with local businesses. The concierge actually is probably sitting at the table with you, or at least delivering your breakfast. And so we have the opportunity to share information about the businesses, the business community, and our recommendations are usually taken. We have relationships with businesses here in the city. We do cross-marketing, cross-promotion that leads to our economic impact. Here's our projected economic impact from restaurants to retail. Our guests come, and they come because they are coming for overnight lodging, for travel, events, and they do stay, and I encourage, because I am a community business person, I encourage our guests to stay in York, to stay local, to travel local, and then if they are here extended time, to go beyond that. But we, at Grace Manor Bed and Breakfast, that's what our intention is, to be community and to support community and to have as much economic impact within our community that we can. Short but sweet. And you'll get your sweet treat when you leave today. Our interns, they're going to be walking out now with your treats. And please, if you have any inquiries, it's all on the brochure. We hope to see you and your business travelers as well as your leisure travelers. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thanks everyone for spending so much time with us this morning. For some closing remarks, President of our Board of Directors, Mandy Arnold.
I want to thank Joanne for not giving out the cookies until I'm done speaking, so I really appreciate that. You know, I want to also thank the Appel Center for the Performing Arts for hosting us. I know I was part of the weekend. It was a really big deal. The amount of people that they brought downtown really just showcased all the opportunities that we have in working together and partnering. If you heard that as a common theme in all of the presentations today, that this sense of momentum and partnership and collaboration start to happen. And then once you start to take a look at all the projects and all the investments that are occurring downtown, you realize that we are creating such an important place. And in creating an important place comes an enormous responsibility. And in closing, what I would want to make the point of is that Downtown Inc. plays a key role in ensuring that projects like this, partnerships occur, collaboration continues, and that also you understand how essential it is, your role in contributing, getting involved, raising the voice, and telling the story of downtown. In closing, I'd like to ask that you consider becoming a friend of Downtown Inc. As Silas had mentioned on one of his slides, 79% of our funding of Downtown Inc. comes from individuals, partners, sponsorships, and friends. If you've not become a friend of Downtown Inc. yet, I would encourage you to visit our website, downtownyorkpa.org. to see how you can get involved, whether it's through volunteerism, through partnering with the organization, through seeing how you can create greater impact by understanding all the projects that are getting ready to occur, but really taking great consideration into your role in telling our story, raising our voice, and inviting other individuals to come downtown. We have a lot of future rooms to fill. We have museum space that we need to make sure we increase the foot traffic for. We have apartments to ensure we are rented. And so you start to get the sense again how important Downtown Inc. becomes in being a collaborator and a facilitator. So in closing, I'd like to thank you for joining us. I hope that you'll make the next the downtown update, and I'd like to thank all of the guests who presented all of their projects today. Thank you very much.